Hey there, it's Susie here. We are so excited about the Reach Retreat coming up in Hawaii in October that we decided to put on Reach Week this week in order to give you a behind the scenes peek into the process on which the program is underpinned. But you're getting the process for free. The celebrations for October have started right now, and there's lots of gold nuggets and information that I'm going to be sharing with you this week in these live training sessions every single day. Plus, I've got different bonuses and lots of value built in so that you can every day have a practical way to implement that part of the Reach process. So I'm Susie Daphnis. I'm the CEO of Her Business. I'm also the host of the Reach Retreat in Hawaii, which we have been running. This will be our 5th year this year, running it on the Big Island in Hawaii. But this Reach process, as you'll hear me explain, is something that I've been working with for, well, close to 30 years now. And it's really allowed me to keep recreating myself and my business and reaching new heights. Wherever you're joining me from, know that if you have questions along the way or comments, I'd love to see them. I would have loved to be in person with you, but we're using the magic of technology for me to reach you wherever you are right now. But if you go ahead and you comment wherever you're watching, whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, wherever you are, if you go ahead and comment, I'll be able to see your comments and interact with you. But like I said, the Reach process, which I'll introduce you to in just a moment, is distillation of years and years of learning and having helped thousands and thousands of women to really discover their passion for their business, to fall back in love with their business, to get clarity and focus around the things they want to do. And we've got a couple of people letting me know that they're watching on Facebook. Hello, hello, hello. Go ahead and tell me your name. Hello, Amita. I can see you. If I'm using a tool called StreamYard, and so some of you I'm going to be able to see your name, others you're going to have to tell me who you are. But the Reach process is so, so powerful. Hey, Michelle. It includes 5 things that are going to help you get out of your comfort zone. Not always a really great place, but we know that that's how we grow, to really reach more of your potential that you know is there and waiting for you, to reach more people and feel more connected to the people and ideas that will support you in your business and your life, and also to how to reach deep into really connecting with what it is that you want and what your heart desires. Hello from New Zealand. Go ahead actually and let me know where you're joining me from. I love this. I expect that a lot of the women here will be watching from Australia, but I can tell already we have people from New Zealand, and increasingly we're seeing more and more women from the US and even Canada join us. So great. Thank you. Thank you. So today's about, and all this week is really about finding strength and power to reach the heights that are important for you in your business. My goal always with everything we do at Her Business is to help you create more of your ideal business, whatever that is for you. And as I said, I'm going to be introducing you to this Reach process. So Reach is actually an acronym. It has 5 parts to the process. And so every day this week, we're going to be diving into every single one of these. And as I said, every day I've got lots of gold, lots of stories from women just like you, and lots of practical tips that you can use. And so I'll walk you through the Reach process now so that you have the overview, and then we'll dive into today's lesson. This is the Reach process here. You can see it's got 5 parts. The first part is reflect, and that's what we're focusing on today. Reflecting is about looking back, like a reflection, looking at who am I right now? What does my business look like? What does my life look like? What do I love about it? What do I not love about it? What did it take to get to where I am right now? Because I'm guessing if you're watching me, if you're part of my world, then you're not a spring chicken. You've been around the block a few times. You're growing and scaling a business. You've got a whole wealth of experience, but you're at a point in your life where you're like, okay, I'm on a trajectory. I can see time is going really, really quickly. I want to make sure that I'm on the right path. So today is all about reflect. Tomorrow is about what we call envision, because once we know where we are, then we can start to set our new future for ourselves. Otherwise, we're just kind of chasing our tail. We don't have clarity about the direction that we want to take. So tomorrow is very exciting. We're going to start to create the ultimate picture for what you want for your life and your business. And this is your permission to dream and really reach for the clarity and the stars, whatever that looks like for you. It's about reconnecting with your inspiration. And as I've mentioned, the Reach Retreat is held in Hawaii, and that's because it really is a place that, especially for women, has a lot of importance. The goddess Pele is the goddess of the volcanoes, and she is responsible for birth and death. So she's about resurrection. It's about killing off the old version of us that we don't want. I'm getting goosebumps. And really creating who we really want to be and doing that with passion and enthusiasm. And you imagine like a volcano, right? It's so alive, and it's creating, always creating new lands. In fact, the big island of Hawaii grows every year because as the volcano erupts, it's adding more and more land. But it also destroys as well. And sometimes we have to destroy our old selves to create our new selves. So that is tomorrow. That is Envision. On day 3, we start to get into action. This is when we now say, okay, here's where I am now. Here's where I want to be. What are the stepping stones to getting there now? And I'll share with you an insight into the process that we work on at the Reach Retreat, where you're starting to really start with the end in mind and working backwards. And this is where women, kind of the penny drops, which is kind of a really simplistic way to say, women get such amazing clarity of, okay, so if in 5 years' time, I want to be spending my time on a country house. In 5 years' time, I want to sell my business. In 5 years' time, if I want to be living in another country, or I want to be geo-flexible, as one of our reachers said, I want to be able to work from anywhere. If 5 years' time, I want to do that, what sort of actions do I need to be taking now, next month, next year? And where we can get this specific about what we're doing, we stop throwing spaghetti at the wall. Right? We start getting really purposeful about how we're spending the very, very precious days of our lives. And then on Thursday, we dive into Connect. And Connect is about who and what do I need to be connected to in order to realize the dreams that I have for my business. And this is a wonderful day to assimilate what you've already reflected on and envisioned and moved into action, and really start to look at what is stopping me from actually connecting to my heart's desire. What is stopping me from connecting with the people or the clients or the income or the ideas that will help me reach further? We go a little deep on Thursday. And then Friday is all about Hero. And Hero is an interesting step in the process, because Hero is really about, and I think it's one of my favorite parts of the process and my favorite day at the Reach Retreat, because it all kind of comes together. And we'll talk about this on Friday. And this is about who will champion this precious, precious vision that you're about to create for yourself and this direction that you want in your business. So that's coming up. So I'm going to go deep into this process in Hawaii. We've got some wonderful women already coming along. I'd love for you to join me, and I'm going to give you some information a little later on about how you can find out more about coming along and being with us. In the meantime, I want to share with you a story that is really one of the first times this Reach concept started to become a really powerful force in my life. It wasn't called the Reach process then. I hadn't distilled it down to these 5 steps, but I can see now when I look back, when I reflect, that it was all there. All the pieces were there. In fact, I want to take you back to a time. This is a workbook of mine. It's like a 3-ring binder with some written notes. And this was in 1993. So, and in June. It was June 1993. So it's coming up to 30 years, which is kind of mind-blowing. But at the time, I was feeling lost. I was kind of aimless. And then I went to a business retreat on the big island of Hawaii. It was called the Business School for Entrepreneurs, and it was a 16-day residential, which means you stayed at the property, event. And it was for people who wanted to become entrepreneurs. And so for 16 days, I immersed myself in this business school. And it was intense. Firstly, it was a lot more than I'd ever spent on myself or my education. I was taking myself to the other side of the world. It took me a bunch of time to build up the courage to invest in myself in that way, and also to invest that sort of money and time, but also to really draw a line in the sand and say, I'm not going to be messing around anymore. I really want to find direction and clarity in my business. And I took myself to this retreat in Hawaii. I was 26 years old at the time, so give you a clue as to how old I am now, given it was 30 years ago. And this is 26-year-old me in the bottom right-hand corner of that photograph. There are about 100 people at this retreat, which is very different to the very intimate Reach retreat that we run these days. But it was at the very same property. And this is 26-year-old me about to launch into a whole new career and business and go on to build 5-7-figure businesses and support hundreds of thousands of people around the world, and just do things that she never imagined that were possible for her, because I latched onto this idea of reaching, of continuing to reach. And as I said, over the years and through my own experience, I've distilled this down. But I was at this school, and I just want to share this with you because I think we all go through this. Here I was thinking, who am I to be at a business school with all these amazing entrepreneurs? What am I getting myself into? What if I look stupid? What if everyone else is more experienced than me? What if I'm not advanced enough? What if I don't have anything to contribute? And it can be scary when we put ourselves in a new environment. But at that retreat, I made the decision that would take my life on a very different course. You see, the future I was heading into didn't look like what my future does now. I was heading into a future that was very much the result of my thinking at the time, my fear, my mindset, the influence of my parents, my background, my culture. All those things were determining who I was becoming. But when I was there and I had that chance to stop and really look at what I wanted, I was finally able to question the direction in which I was going and to clearly choose. Because sometimes we can get on a trajectory, and tell me if this is you. Hello, Linda, watching from the Gold Coast. Tell me if this is you. You start your business, you're on track, you're getting some momentum, and suddenly you think, I don't know if this is what I want anymore. It doesn't look like the picture I had in my mind. So for me, it took going to that retreat, taking myself away from the usual environment and immersing myself in a learning environment so far away from home with those people, with those experts, with those mentors, and the processes and exercises that we went through. And it was because I took time away to pause and think and dream and re-engineer my life that I came to envision the life and business that I really wanted. And that vision has allowed me to create the businesses that I've created and the life that I have today. But what was so interesting is that I went back and I found that manual that I showed you the picture of, and it's now 30 years later. And there was a page in the manual that I showed you the photo of. And on that page, I had written that I wanted friends that push me on, that I want to consciously create my life, that I wanted to be doing things out of choice in my life, that I wanted to take opportunities, that I wanted to be whoever I wanted to be. And I was blown away when I found this workbook many years later. I didn't realize how much of an impact that shift had had in my mindset and how much it had carried me forward in my life. And I've had this in me all along. We all have this greatness, this ability to have the life we love. But it also kind of gets watered down or sidetracked or pushed away, especially when life gets busy or family gets busy or, things just happen. Like we get derailed. We get pulled in many directions. But if we stop and we reflect, and we're talking about that today, we start to see our true purpose. It comes into light. Over and over again, it's knocking on that window saying, I'm here for you to live into, if only you would take the space to connect with me. And this might sound a little woo-woo, but stay on for the ride, because this is when you can step into your power. That's when you can become knowing that you're using this life to live completely, to really be your complete self, to not just work busy, but really use your business as a vehicle to have the life that you want. And that's why I want to start today by sharing this reach reflect process. Yeah, and someone here is saying I find that the further away I get, here we go, I'm going to pop this on the screen so you can see it. The further away I get from the everyday, the greater the objectivity and the clarity becomes. And this is true. This is speaking the truth. I was just away for the weekend in Melbourne with my partner, and we went to visit a couple of friends, and just a couple of days away from my usual environment, the clarity, the relaxation, the inspiration that came back, let alone actually the times when I do go away. And just in 3 weeks, I'm going away to be with a mastermind that I belong to. And so 3 times a year, I travel to North America to be with an incredible, intimate group of business owners that I have a lot in common with and that I've grown to love over the years. And I'm putting money on the line, I'm putting time on the line in order to put myself in an environment where I can think differently. And often we are just stingy with ourselves. I don't know any other way to say it. We don't give ourselves the gift that we really need because we think, oh, I don't know if I can spend the money. Oh, I don't know if I can spend the time. If you can't be away from your business for a week, then you want to relook at what your business is doing. If you can't be away from family and have them still thrive to do what you really need to do, then I'm going to invite you to just think about it. Just think about who you can become when you give more to yourself, when you give yourself the time to reflect and find that pause. And we're going to talk a little more about pause today to come back stronger. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, whoever said that. So this is Tracy Bode, and I want to share her story because she's like a lot of women. I'd love to know, if you're watching, how many years have you been in business? Would you just give me a number? How many years have you been in business? Tracy's been in business for over 26 years. She's a speech pathologist. She's had a business called Zytec for many, many years, and she helps people with severe disabilities to get matched with the right technology and devices to help their communication and help them integrate with their communities and be able to communicate. Great, 26 years. Oh, you were very much like Tracy then. It was me, Linda. Hey, great. And then we've got some new people. And so she was an experienced business owner. But here was the thing, right? When we've been in business for a little while, gosh, I wish, I had this opportunity that we're making available for women, available when I started my business. I didn't have it. But Tracy, she said, I was at a crossroads. She said, I really needed some direction. And she said, the REACH system, the very same system that I'm teaching you this week, she said, gave me a vision and a path forward and helped me really understand what I wanted for my life to look like. And one of the things Tracy wanted was she wanted to get out of the day-to-day of the business. She wanted to bring a second in charge. She wanted to spend some of her time on her property in Kennet River in Victoria with her beautiful dogs and her husband. She wanted to be able to live life the way she wanted. She wanted to be able to focus on the parts of the business that she really was passionate about. She wanted to step more into marketing. And she's had her best year ever 2 years in a row since coming to the REACH retreat. She's grown her revenue. She's grown her impact. She's grown her results. She's more than that, though. She's connected with the way of life that she wants for herself and her business. Best year ever. She's coming back to the retreat this year. And she uses this system that I'm teaching you this week to keep creating the next level of her ideal life, just like I did. Every time I want to create a new path in my business, I go back to this system. Here's another person I want to introduce you to. This is the lovely young lawyer, Jackie Browman. She has got a business in regional Victoria. She's a lawyer. She specializes in estate planning, and she really helps families really take care of things should anything go wrong. And so she said it's just so easy to fall into a rut. She was so busy growing the business, bringing on staff, training staff, hiring staff, losing staff, setting up systems, doing all those things. And she said she found herself static and without goals. And she said, without the system that I'm teaching you, she said, I wouldn't have been able to conceptualize the plan and dream that I have for my business now. So what is it that you're trying to reach right now? What is it? Is it reaching more clients? Is it reaching a way of lifestyle? Like, I want a better lifestyle. I want more time. Is it that I want more connections? Is it that I just want to fall back in love with my business? What is it that you're wanting to reach for? Because this REACH system is really about reconnecting with the things that you want more of. It's about how to find that power to reach new heights in your business. And so this is the process that I go through whenever I lack confidence about what I'm doing in my business, and I just want to be more purposeful and on track. Yeah. And this woman saying, growth without the sacrifice of everything else in my business. And if I'm referring to you as this woman, it's because I'm using an app that doesn't necessarily show me who the message is from, but growth without sacrificing everything else in my business. And wouldn't it be awesome to have some great role models of growth without having to sacrifice? In fact, growth while having more of everything you want. Finances, lifestyle, connection. Fantastic. I love these. Thank you so much for sharing. So one of the things that we have done, and I'll just pull these slides back up, is that we have put together a keepsake booklet for you. I'm going to give it to you later today because you don't need it right now. All you need right now is to be here and just be really present with what we're talking about here today and the stories that I'm sharing. And I'll give that to you a little later on. I want to like my business again. I want to be more streamlined and organized. I want to have a direction. You are speaking my language. That is what the REACH process is exactly designed to do. And so it's really about taking time to get off the hamster wheel, to get out of the rush cycle and moving from one deadline to the other. It's about having the time to pause and reflect, to be able to exhale rather than having that shallow breath, you know, that one, because it's just not sustainable. And we end up not liking our business. It becomes toil. Now, our tagline at Her Business is do what you love every day. Does that mean it's always roses? No. But it does mean that, like I woke up this morning so excited to be here to speak to you. because I know that I'm doing what I love every day. And so let's talk about this topic for today. I want to make sure I give you a good introduction of the system. I want to talk about this idea of reflecting. It's about becoming present, and being present in the here and now is a very powerful position. So let's look at some ways to build more presence into your life. And so some of these questions you're going to answer into your keepsake booklet. So right now, if you have a pen and pencil or you've got a digital document open, you can make some notes, or you can go ahead and tell me in comments. So these smiley faces, that's Tracy next to me, the woman I just talked to you about, and there's Helena and Amanda. And this photo was taken on one of our nights out having a cultural experience in downtown Kona in Hawaii. Here is a way to put more reflection in your life. So, because reflect doesn't mean navel gazing, but it could include what gives you joy. What gives you joy? What is that when you're doing? Time stands still. Maybe it's time with your grandchildren. Maybe it's time with your partner. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's working with a client. Maybe it's playing football. Whatever it is, what is it that brings you joy? When we can tap into what brings us joy, we can get really present to what our heart is calling for more of. Because we can be busy 24/7 forever, but we want to make sure that we're bringing into our lives and our businesses the things that we want more of. Time in nature. Great. So time in nature. So for me, it's time out running, time out visiting. As I mentioned, I was just in Melbourne for the weekend. I've been to Melbourne countless times because I had an events business. We used to have events there all the time. But it's more the taking myself out of the usual, creating things. Love it. Creating things. Great. For that person whose screen has stopped, just refresh. It's all working. We're all here. So getting in touch with what gives you joy is the first thing. And I hope you've been able to make note of a couple of things. The next thing is also important, and that is what's draining your soul. So what is it right now? Is it scheduling posts on social media? Is it working with some particular clients who are tie kickers? Is it the fact that you're just working way too many hours and that is draining you? Is it that you haven't really identified what your business should be doing and who it should be serving? And so it feels like a bit of a hamster wheel. Is it that the business that you designed hasn't turned out that way? Or is it that the income that you wanted isn't there? Like, what is draining your soul right now? Make a note for that. And as I said, I'm going to give you the worksheet later on. So really identifying that, because when we know this is what brings me joy, this is what drains my soul, we can make some decisions and say, well, I want more of that and I want less of that. You might also type timelines, says Norma, type timelines and I feel I'm running in place, right? So that's that treadmill, that's that hamster wheel, right? The hamster's running, but they're not going anywhere, right? They're staying right there in place, right there in place. So go ahead and refresh your screen if for any reason I've frozen, but I'm going to keep going. Another thing that we want that helps us reflect is reflecting on our numbers. So this is a really important one for business owners, reflecting on your numbers, going back over your figures for the last year and saying, okay, am I just going to race on blindly? Or am I going to, throwing invoices over the fence? Or am I going to really look at what's it going to take to make money? Because if one of the directions that you want for your business to have a profitable business, to have a business that fuels you, that sustains you, that is sustainable and doesn't wear you out, then you want to spend some time reflecting on your numbers. You might also want to reflect on your clients. And I mentioned that. Which ones are the profitable clients? Which ones are taking a lot of time or are not what you want? Maybe along with clients is the way that you're serving your clients. Maybe the products and services that you have are really not cutting it. Maybe you're not enjoying them. Maybe there's not enough of a profit margin. Maybe you're not getting the return on investment. Or maybe you've developed products and services, but you're getting all those red X's. You're not getting the right people, or you're not getting enough people buying your course, joining your membership, coming to your e-commerce store, getting your coaching, doing your styling services, buying your photography. So when you can start to identify these 4 things, what lights me up? What drains me? What are my numbers doing? Because we're business owners, right? We're business owners. Am I working with the people that I love? Providing the services and the products that I love, or do I need to review that? Reflecting on those 4 things is going to bring you really up to date. And these are the insights that are going to allow you to move forward in a deliberate way, consciously envisioning what you want in your life. Because as I said, tomorrow we're talking about envisioning, but we need to know where we are now. What does life look like on planet you right now? So for now, I want to give you permission to stop, to pause, to exhale, to reflect, to slow down. I know it's only Monday morning, so maybe you haven't taken off too much right now. Maybe you're only just picking up speed. I'm so glad you're here. Here's what I want you to know. You don't have to do it on your own. Reflection, as we talk about it today, is very similar to the literal meaning of reflection. It's of looking at yourself, looking at your business, not just racing forward, but really stopping and looking. What am I doing with this one precious life? Is this what I want to be doing? Is this working out the way I want it? Or if not, how do I make a change? Because this isn't about bringing anyone down. This is about going, hey, let's wake up to where we're at so that we can move forward. Now, I want to give you, this is such a gift. When I got this the first time, it just made such a big difference. The word aloha, you will know, probably have heard, as a Hawaiian word, and it's often used to say hello. But that is not the only definition of aloha. Aloha also means I see you, I acknowledge you. It even means love. So the other day, I wear contact lenses. I was putting in my contact lenses, something I do sort of automatically in the morning before I go. And for a moment I stopped, I thought, oh, hello. Hello, you. You've been running so fast. We've had the most crazy first 4 months, just super busy at the office. And I stopped and I thought, oh, hello. Okay, breathe, connect, get present. Are we having fun here, Susie? And I realize how often we look at each other, but we don't really see ourselves. It's when we take that moment to reflect, to really look in that mirror, really looking at, how did I get here? What has brought me to this point? And does that still serve me? Do those old thoughts, like I said to you when I went to Hawaii in 1993, do those thoughts, does that cultural upbringing, do those restraints, do those beliefs about how much money I can charge, who I can work with, how much it's okay to earn, are those things still serving me, or do I need to review them? And so for me, putting myself in the way of getting feedback from peers, experts, mentors, that's also an important part of reflection. It's them reflecting back to you. That's why I love what we do at Her Business. We give women a mirror to say, this is what's happening in your business right now. Is this what you really, really want? This is a quote from a book that a friend gave me. Actually, she's not just a friend. She's one of the mentors at the Reach Retreat. This is the wonderful Valerie Koo gave me a book. And in the book was this quote. And I'm going to make it a little bigger so that you can see it. It says, when you press the pause button on a machine, it stops. But when you press the pause button on human beings, they start. Isn't that fantastic? When you press the pause button on a machine, it stops. But when you press the pause button on human beings, they start. That is the essence of reflection. And what he goes on to say is opting to pause and reflect. I'm going to read this because I want to give you every word. Opting to pause and reflect rather than panic or withdraw or ignore is a necessity. It's not a luxury or a distraction to actually pause. It's a way to increase the odds that you'll better understand and engage productively with the world around you. He said you start to think differently. You start to rethink your assumptions. You start to reimagine what's possible. And most importantly, and this is the goal, you start to reconnect with your most deeply held beliefs. Once you've done that, you can begin to reimagine a better path. And so before we imagine a better path tomorrow during Reach Week, I want you to take that time to pause. I want you to take that time to stop and reflect. This is Estelle Cornell. She has a 7-day-a-week nursery in the Northern Territory. She now has many of them, but when she came to the Reach Retreat, she came to the very first retreat, she said, you think you're a super person, that you can be there for everybody, and we can most of the time? She said, I don't know how I made the time to step away to go to Hawaii. She said, but I'm so glad I did, because I got the opportunity to reflect and grab back my goals. See, she'd lost her vision and she was able to grab back her goals and to come back and communicate to her family and her team. And that's how her journey began. And now she says, You won't be able to read this, but I'm going to read it out to you. She says, every day my life gets better and better. She says, there's so many great things about attending the Reach Retreat. For me, some of them were networking, friendships, learning, understanding my business, having the time away to focus. It was a wonderful, relaxed atmosphere, amazing people who continue to be friends. Since that week, here's what I want to hear you to hear. Since that week, she says, I've expanded into extra stores across Darwin and the suburbs, and I'm loving life every single day. I believe this has only been possible by me having that week, 1 week away in Hawaii to really understand and recharge, to be able to focus and do exactly what is best for me, my heart and soul, and what I always wanted. Each day, my life gets better and better. And she sent a message to the women who are coming this year. She said, enjoy, ladies. She said, every one of you is going to get so much out of this 1 week. You won't believe it. So reach higher and enjoy. Thank you so much, Estelle. I'm just reading here. Awesome. So that is Estelle's story. Isn't it beautiful? I'm so happy for her. She's opened up all these additional stores. She's in a better relationship position than ever before. She's got a loving family. She's doing what she loves every day. This is Michelle French. She's in Victoria. She has a really interesting business. It's a boutique private practice that delivers medico-legal, a word I can hardly say, and occupational therapy since 1994. So she's been in business for almost 30 years as well. But a lot of that time, she hadn't taken a breath. She felt like life was a struggle. She was making good money. She makes great money because she's such a specialist. She's called on in the most difficult cases where people have had severe injuries. She said, Reach gave me a chance to take a breath and really look at where we were going from here, because she had no problem growing the business and making money, but it was just burning her out. And she really wanted to create a business that served her more. She said, this was the first time I'd done anything for myself in a long time. She said, my intuition, and really you want to listen to that, listen to your gut when something's pulling you forward. My intuition told me I had to go, and it hasn't been wrong. Reach offered me the opportunity to take a breath, take a moment out of the business, and really look at what we were doing and how we were going to get there. This is someone not as many years in business. At the time, she'd been in business for 10 years. This is Amy Geach, and she helps allied health professionals, chiropractors, physios, create really healthy practices. She also has 2 clinics herself. She does hand therapy and wrist therapy. And she said, for 10 years, I hadn't stopped. She said, my vision was no longer my own. The business had taken control, and I no longer had the clarity and focus. And so she came to get a new direction. She told me she was at the airport in Sydney waiting for the plane, and she was just in tears. And she was on the phone to her husband, and she said, I know I have to do this, because she was in such a funk from just not having stopped for 10 years, not having stopped to look up. She's totally transformed her business. She's sold a business. She's changed another business. She's changed her brand name. She's introduced a retreat. She has all these other different programs. She's incredible. And this is Helena Ung. Now, her business helps students learn math. She says she has a license to run a particular program that teaches young children math using a really innovative technology. And so she's opening up different centers and franchises that do this. And she said, I've usually got 100 things going on. She's got a couple of young kids. And she said, taking the time to pause meant she could really hear her inner voice. There's that conversation again. And what it was saying, it allowed me to be in my space and think about what I really want and what I need to do. And this is Janine. Shout out to our New Zealanders. This is the lovely Janine Barr. And she's a mum. And she said in her business for 20 years, she said she'd been in her business for 20 years with her husband. She said there was never really any time for her. She said, I wanted to be somewhere where I could just stop and pause and kind of reevaluate what was going on in my business. But mostly I wanted to stop for me, she said. She asked herself to look more deeply into who she could become and what was important to her. Right? These conversations you don't have when you're in, when you're on the treadmill, you don't have those conversations like, what do I really want? And so if this is resonating with you, if you're saying, yes, I want permission to exhale, I want time to reflect, I want you to make that investment in yourself and in your future. When there was a time in my business, I'd been in business for 3 years and the business was going pretty well. And but I was getting burnt out. My partner was getting burnt out. We were doing about $300,000 at the time. We had a small team of part-time staff, and we finally cracked the business model that was actually working. Well, it was kind of working because we were working too hard. So energy in, lots of effort, but not as much return. And so we had to stop. We had to pause. We had to stop and reflect. How did we get to where we were right now? What was working? What was not working? Then we could envision this new future. And the new future that we decided on, we said we wanted to be $1 million business. That weekend that we took away to pause, it was a 3-day long weekend, one winter. We went to southern New South Wales. And I said, I want $1 million business. Creating that vision was part 2 of the reflect process. This is when the process started to come together for me. I went, I know that there's a process to us taking a new direction, to me falling back in love with the business, to us having the life and the business that we want. And the life and business we want was, yes, it was $1 million business, but it was more than that. It was financial freedom. If you want financial freedom, say I. We wanted financial freedom. We wanted to be financially free by the time PJ was 40, and he's 3 years older than me. So I was totally on board with that idea. But we had to stop. We had to put ourselves in the environment where we were with the right peers and mentors, places where we could ask questions, a space where we could actually think about, well, what does it look like? What should I be selling? What sort of customers do I want to work with? Because we can't do all the things. How do I live my ideal life? Yeah, I'm getting heck yes and all that sorts of things. So I'm now going to, in a moment, I'll tell you about the rest of the week. But right now, I want to invite you to join me at the Reach Retreat. Celebrations have already begun because we've already got a great group of women business owners. Some of them have been in business for a couple of years. Some of them have been in business for 20 years. Some of them are coming back for the second and third time. Others are coming for the very first time. It's a terrific group of women, and I would love for you to join us. This is going to be your time to pause. This is us in the morning. In the morning, we do stretching by the water, and we have a licensed instructor. It's totally optional, but you get the morning off to have a little reflection before we go to breakfast and before we start the day. So time to pause. But the whole week is a pause, right? Because you're out of your usual environment. There's no clients, there's no family, there's no friends, there's no errands to run, there's no, Uber to get into, there's no shopping to do. There's none of that. It's time to pause just for you. And every day we have classroom sessions. It's a very full week. So every day you're with the mentors. And I've invited an incredible group of mentors who've been with me from day one when we were on our first retreat. But unlike other events, they're with you all week. So you can tap their brains the whole time and pick their brains and get some one-on-one time. And it's time to connect and build relationships. And even if you're an introvert like me, and I remember when I went to the business school in Hawaii, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not a people person. I'm here for the information. And I took the information, but I also took away a handful of great relationships. And that's there for you. Plus there's celebrations. We're in Hawaii after all, and we're there to celebrate the incredible roads that we've been on so far while we're also building the future. And because we're in Hawaii, there's also some cultural experiences. And so this is something I want you to get excited about. So Jane's like, so looking forward to this. Kat said, I cannot wait. This was when she was coming to the Reach Retreat. And here's why I do this. This is the best way. This is the fastest way that I know for you to have the shift from struggling to having the success you want in your business, to see the magic that's available for you, because Reach is one magical moment after another. And along the way, you get to shift. You get to make that shift with me, with the mentors that I bring along, and your new ohana. Ohana is the Hawaiian word for family. This is your Reach family. Feeling that shift, I get goosebumps, as I said, because it's so powerful. It's the biggest gift that we give women is this Reach Retreat. I love everything we do. And whether you're a Her Business Network member or you just casually found me on Facebook, everything we do is exceptional. The Reach Retreat, the moment I went to Hawaii in 1993, I knew that I wanted to come back there with a group of women. It took me a long time. It took me to 2017 to get over there and take a group of women. And ever since then, we've been taking women every year, except for when we couldn't travel for a couple of years. But as well as being all these beautiful things in Hawaii that I'm telling you, what are the practical things you get? You get clarity. And what is more powerful than having clarity about what direction you're going to take? And big goals, actually thinking bigger, because we can get so caught up in our own little world. This is your opportunity to think bigger and to get unstuck, because stuck takes way too much energy. And it's about setting that next vision. No matter what you've done, whether you've been in business for 1 year, 2 years, 26 years, this is about going to the next step, making that leap, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, and getting renewed focus. You might have started your business at a time where maybe COVID forced you into it. Maybe you started with a partner or a spouse and something's changed along the way. Now it's time to get crystal clear about what the next stage looks like, because time is passing, people. We're not getting any younger. So we want to make sure we're doing what we love and it's working for us. This is about taking a breath, if you've had your head down and you've been in the grind, this is time to take that breath, to really breathe into what it is that you want and to step things up, to finally get some momentum in the business and have that while being supported by me and the other mentors that are there to support you and the incredible group of women, and to actually leave with a plan unlike anything you've ever done before. Day 3, once you've set your vision, we're going to talk about it on Wednesday, on day 3 this week, plus more money. Women go on to have their best year ever and their best year ever and their best year ever. And before I explain the price, we build the program not just for the week in Hawaii, but it's a 4-month program. So here we are in April, and next week I'm meeting with the people who attended in October, because for 4 months we hold your hand as you implement the REACH process, because we want to make sure that you embed this with confidence in your business. And we give you a whole lot of templates and worksheets like that women are using year on year on year, and even introducing to their teams to allow them to put each part of the REACH process in place. Plus, you get to be part of the REACH alumni. So there's now, since 2017, the women who've been coming every year who are part of the alumni, and they are best friends. They visit each other. They fly from New Zealand to Adelaide to see each other. They meet up they're posting. We have a REACH alumni group. They're posting when they catch up for dinner. But more than that, they've been through this process. They've been through this. This is the experience that women, when people say life-changing and transformational, they're not words that I would normally use in marketing a program because they sound kind of hypey, right? But when our clients say again and again, best thing I ever did, transformational, life-changing, if that's the language they use, and when you go across to the reachretreat.com, do I even have that thing for you? I'll make sure I've got that for you. If you go across to the reachretreat.com, you will see that stories from women of all different, shapes and sizes and experience in business and types of business and industries and countries. And here's the thing, when you apply, there's no fee. So sometimes people say, well, give me $150 and you can apply. We're not asking you to pay anything to apply. When you apply, you simply lock in your early bird discount, which I'll give you in a moment. And what does applying mean? There's 5 or 6 questions that ask you about your business. Because if you think about times when you've made a leap before in your business, you know how valuable it can be to just step outside of your comfort zone. So if you're ready to change and you know things need to shift and you want to take your business to that next level, then come along. I want to tell you who the REACH Retreat is for, because it's not for everyone, right? So I don't assume it's even for everyone who's here watching. But if any of this sounds like you, then you might want to apply. And like I said, there's no cost to apply. Maybe you've been in business for a few years and you've already had some success, or you're a self-starter and you're working really hard, but you're just scratching the surface of what's possible for you, or you feel that rush of excitement about the potential exists in your business, but it feels just that little bit out of your reach. You don't quite know how to get it, but you can see it, right? I know I was there for a long time. Or maybe you just don't get the time and clarity because you just can't fit thinking time, deep work time into your life. Or you want to bring renewed energy into the business, but you're just not sure what to do next. Or you want that healthy, sustainable income. You want more money. You want to be able to afford the team members that take you out of the day-to-day. You want to be able to wear that CEO hat more and get out of the day-to-day like Tracy did. Or you want to love your business. You want to feel more aligned, more on track, more on purpose, and actually feel like you're being rewarded. If you can relate, here's what I know. Running a business, especially a busy one, it feels like a marathon. You can get tired. You can lose your track along the way. So you need to give yourself this time to reset. And so we've built in something that's inclusive. Once you arrive in Hawaii, you're taken care of from the moment you arrive to the moment we put you back on a plane on the last day. And so there's nothing you need to think about other than being there and having the experience and getting the learning and making the connections. And so if you're in a stuck place at the moment, you definitely want to check this out. We've built an incredible package for you. And so we have built in, I'm going to go through the things, over $28,000 worth in value. So there's 5 full days of training with me and the mentors. There's 5 nights accommodation in our luxury resort, all your meals and refreshments from the moment you arrive, all your cocktails, all your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all included, as well as your accommodation, surprise fun and cultural activities, yoga sessions with an experienced instructor, daily juice and journaling So we do take that moment. We live and breathe what we talk about. Juice and journaling, where you get those insights, you get to calibrate. So you're not just rushing from lesson to lesson, but you're actually getting to calibrate and make plans. Special gifts and goodies that we love to surprise you with, the online community, and even a training. You're like, I've never done this sort of thing before. We give you a pre-event training that takes you through how to be ready to be ready when you're there in Hawaii. And it's a total value of $8,300. There's also a money back guarantee. So you can come along and you do the program and you say, I don't feel like that was what I wanted. We will give you your money back. That's how much we believe in what we're doing. And right now we have an early bird saving that ends on the 21st of April. And you can save $2,000 right now when you apply by the 21st of April. You don't have to pay anything. All you need to do is put in your application by the 21st of April to qualify. And what happens when you put in your application is that we get on the phone and we go through your application. And at that point, we have a look at, is this the right thing for you? Is it a good match? Because it's not a good match for everyone. Like I said, it's not for everyone. But if I feel that the program is going to help you get that shift, that momentum in your business, and some of you, I know who you are and I know that you're watching, and I want you to really consider this and don't faff around. Don't know for a better, yeah. And we are probably not doing this event next year. And that's just because of my schedule. And so if you're thinking, oh, maybe next year, then I want you to think, no, this year, because you don't want to be another year away and not having taken this momentous step in your business. So all you need to do is apply. Today, as I said, was all about reflection. The link to go and join is there on the screen. Look at these gorgeous faces. I want one of those faces to be yours. And we only really have a few places left. We keep this to around 22 to 24 women. And so we don't have a lot of places available, but that gives you a sense of how intimate and how special this is, how much attention your business will get. And if you can imagine, if you've ever done a deep dive into working on your business, you know what can be done in a day, let alone in 5 days, let alone in an immersive environment where you get access to 4 world-class experts who've all grown multi-million-dollar businesses available there for you. So we've kicked off Reach Week. There's so much more for you. Today was about reflection. As I said, aloha is about saying hello. It's about acknowledging, saying, I see you. So right now, I hope you are seeing more clearly where you are right now, because making forward motion starts with shining a light on where we are right now and getting time to see things. So how do you go about getting yourself that time? We've created this environment where you get that time. It's in October. The dates are the 30th of October to the 3rd of November. Great question. I really should put that on the slides for tomorrow. I just know the big opportunities that open up for me every time I go through this reach process and every time I take away myself out of the environment. As I said, in 3 weeks' time, I'm taking myself away for 2 weeks because I want to work on this reach process with people and mentors in an environment that I know is going to really shift things for me. It's always been a passion of mine to take women away and to share the experiences that I've had with other women, and really about consciously creating our businesses, not having accidental businesses, but having purposeful businesses. And so if this is resonating, if you're saying, yes, I want time to exhale, to reflect, then this is going to be an amazing experience. And I'd love for you to join me. There's going to be loads of time to reflect, which is what today was all about. And you'll be taken care of, as I said, from the moment you arrive for the whole time and beyond, right? Because while it's a 1-week program, it's really a 4-month program because we give you all that support for the months afterwards. So when you look at that exchange for the price that you're paying, you'll know that it's really a no-brainer. And the program is good value at full price. But right now, when you apply by the 21st, you actually save $2,000 when you're a member of the Her Business Network. Now, if you're not a member of the Her Business Network, then you want to go ahead and join so that you can get that extra saving. So I'm so excited about Reach Week. I invite you to come back tomorrow. Tomorrow is all about envisioning. And this is about, now that I know where I am, this is how I move forward. I'm going to put the link for the worksheet here for you. And I'd love for you to go ahead and fill it out so that you can do the exercise similar to what I did earlier, which is about saying, what is it that lights me up? What is it that leeches my soul? How are my numbers? Like, how is the business doing? Where is it right now? And then, am I working with people I love, selling and delivering products and services that I want to, or is there a shift that I need to make? So when we finish up here, I'll make sure that this link is everywhere it needs to be. And if you have any questions at all, let me know. Otherwise, I'd love to see you go ahead and apply. If you go over to the reachretreat.com, you'll see a button. it says apply for the retreat. It'll take you to a form that asks you a few questions, and then you'll go to a calendar that gives you an option to choose a date and time where we can have a chat. And it's a great opportunity for me to meet you. And for me, as I said, it's a curated group of women. I want you to apply if you feel like this is speaking to you. I will let you know if it's too early for you. I'm always happy to do that. But if it's right for you, know that I will be that nudge in your back to say, okay, let's make this happen. And there's ways to pay where you can pay it off over time, or you can pay in advance and get an extra saving. So it's totally up to you. I want to thank you so much for joining me. I will see you for Envision tomorrow, where we start to look at the steps inside of Envision. I'm going to steal from the actual retreat in Hawaii and give you some little bits of gold about how you create the tension between where your vision is and where you are now, and what you need to do to springboard yourself closer to where you want to go. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed today, leave me a comment. Let me know. Bye for now.